So I did that, and I think they heard me, so that's good. And it looks like we're underway. I will start the clock. Okay, so is it Delver, Bug Depths? Where are your prediction points going, Rich?
Well, this can be a difficult matchup from either perspective, honestly. It kind of depends a lot on how the game's gonna play out. Um, I would say in general, I'd give the nod to the Dark Depths player
Okay.
because the Izzet deck doesn't have that much in the way of interaction for Merit Lodge. And Volan's list in particular looks like it only has one Brazen Borrower in the main deck. So if a Merit Lodge comes down, it's more than likely going to stick and kind of end the game.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the Delver player has Wastelands in order to try to disrupt that and some counter magic to kind of protect it along the way. But one of the other key elements that Delver can kind of take in this matchup, which might give Volan's list a little bit more of an edge than Delver would usually have, is that Volan actually has a lot of flyers in his deck. So, but what that does is it gives you an opportunity to have an aggressive start with cards like Pyromancer, Delver of Secrets, and then you can try to turn the corner and just attack them as fast as possible. And then if a Merit Lodge has to come down, you can just play a flying blocker for maybe 1 or 2 turns in a row and maybe just sneak out a win. And that's a legitimate plan for Volan to take in this game. As we can see in Volan's hand after this Thoughtseize, it looks like he's going to have some flying blockers back, which is good, but his start isn't quite aggressive enough to capitalize on the flying blockers, and he doesn't have any other disruption for the combo. So this looks like it might be a little bit tough for him as it stands, but he did keep with his Ponder, so it's possible he has a Wasteland or a Brazen Borrower coming up, and he wanted to protect it. So
Yeah, so we saw, in case anybody didn't see the card with the glare, Urborg into Thoughtseize, and then Inquisition of Kozilek took out both the two different forces out of Roland's hand. So counter magic is, at least as far as Jason knows, shut off. The double Sprite Dragon. We don't know what Roland's starting hand was because the Ponder was fired off. But do you like this hand for Roland? Oh, he drew a Delver. That's not bad.
interesting. So it's actually pretty. So I think this start in the matchup it's acceptable. It's okay. Like you
Okay.
get to play your Delver game, but unless you have a Wasteland or a Brazen Bow on top, you don't really have any way to stop your opponent from doing what they're doing. Based on what Jason did, I would think he probably has one part of the combo and another way to search it up like a crop rotation, and he wants to make sure he can protect that. Um, so yeah, here we see the Sylvan Scrying. So it's very possible that he already has one of the pieces in hand, and he just went for a double disruption into Sylvan Scrying, get a Dark Depths, or Destiny Stage, what have you, and
Yep.
then set it up for turn 4, which Volan's start isn't looking good enough to be able to manage that. And I would guess that he definitely has a Dark Depths in hand if you're getting Destiny Stage, because Dark Depths is a little bit more versatile, because you can also have the Vampire Hexmage. So
Yep.
based on Roland's play, it's a little surprising he pondered and kept a Delver. I mean, he has a very threat-heavy hand, so this is clearly not the axis he needs to play on right now, but it might be working out for him because his opponent played a Wasteland instead of a Thespian Stage, so that means that the combo is a little bit less likely to happen next turn. So
Yep.
this might be a good situation for him, but he does have a difficult choice to make here. Whether he casts the Brainstorm and tries to set something up, or if he just taps out and goes for the Spike Dragon. It looks like he's going to go for the Brainstorm, and I think this makes sense when you
Yep.
already have the Delver in play.
Yep. The Delver should be more than enough at this point. Um, in general, the Marit Lage base decks are built to prey on Delver decks. What did you say? Like they're
I think in the past that was definitely true, and now because Delver has Brazen Borrower as a
yeah.
really effective main deck card, as well as still a plethora of options in the sideboard, as well as a very aggressive main game plan. It's a little bit less true these days,
Okay.
but they can still be difficult, no doubt. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still going to be an uphill battle for Roland, I think.
Let's put it this way: like as a Delver player, I feel like if I mean, obviously we're doing open deck lists, but if I knew my opponent was on a Merit Lage deck, I wouldn't be like, yes, a good
Right.
match. It's like, ah, crap. I better bring my
Totally.
A game.
Yeah, definitely. It can be tough, but I would think unless you've completely ignored it in the sideboard, it is going to be a slightly. It's going to be close, and it's going to edge a lot based on how the games play out. Like it's really hard to say either player is necessarily favored, but I do
Yep.
based on how this game's playing out. I actually really like Roland's situation. He does now have that aggressive start going on.
Yep.
He has his opponent down to 14. He has a couple of flying blockers if he needs it, and unless there's a crop rotation coming up very soon, he knows that he's not going to be facing down a Merit Lodge. So I really like the way this is playing out from Roland's side right now, but it's still a precarious circumstance for sure.
Yep. Yep. What I find maybe extra annoying about these depths decks with blue is that they are able to counter some of your stuff. Counter
Right.
some of your counter magic, trying to stop them from doing what they're doing. And I said that in the worst way, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I got the picture.
Yeah. The fact that they
I,
have counter magic too is extra annoying, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, so if I'm in Roland's situation, I'm kind of, pumping the fist in my air in this situation because your opponent's casting a Thoughtseize, which facilitates your aggressive plan, and they paid for your days. So that means that um, that if you can draw like one spell off the top, get this up to a 2-turn clock, and then maybe draw a lightning bolt, you could have lethal. Yeah, exactly. This is an excellent situation for Roland. As far as matchups that can be a little tricky, this is exactly the spot you want to be in. Because now he clocks in for 6, and then if he can draw a lightning bolt, he can clock in for 6 next turn, and then just fire that upstairs. Even if Merit Lodge blocks one of the tokens, he's still going to take exactly lethal. So this is a good situation that Roland set up, and he's really punishing the interactive, slower start that Jason took to this game.
If Roland drops a Wasteland here, wouldn't that... Let's see, wait. 1, 2... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say Wasteland will win the game, but I was wrong. I miscounted.
Yeah, with Jason having a Wasteland in play, he can still Wasteland target the Wasteland to stop that from happening. But all Roland needs is either a Delver that's going to transform or a Lightning Bolt, and I think he's in a great situation.
All right, there's a Delver.
Yep, this is a pretty good start.
Yep. Sprite Dragon looking pretty good tonight.
Yeah. Roland's been playing it very aggressively, but I think it's made a lot of sense based on his situation. Yeah, nice. So that's kind of that is one of the advantages Delver has in so many of these situations. Every time somebody is like, this is a hard matchup for Delver, Delver can still just play a Delver game and hope that people trip up. And people trip up more than it might seem. I think there's a perception that everybody's decks always work the kind of way they want it to, and everybody's counter to Delver is always going to do what you expect it to. But a fast Delver start can definitely beat just about any opponent, and that's why Delver has seen the longevity it has. It's been such a force in Legacy for the past 9 to 10 years. It's really good. Sylvan Safekeeper and Pitting Deal. I imagine almost all of those cards are going to come in some quantity. And so that it can be a little bit tough to kind of you do have to keep up with them on card advantage because they can grind you down a little bit with just like a remove spell on your creature because you had to keep a disruptive hand, and that can make it a little bit challenging sometimes. So excessive iteration gives you a nice little refill if the game's going to go really long, but it can be awkward for sure.
Okay, so Mox Diamond discarding Verdant Catacombs and a Dark Depths to start the game for Jason. What does that tell you about Jason's hand and game plan here?
Yeah, this makes some sense. I would have anticipated that he had a crop rotation, but he didn't. He decided not to fire that off. So I don't think he does. He probably has a second copy of Dark Depths in hand. Roland almost certainly has a surgical because he's getting Jason to pause, and he's going to get all the copies of the Dark Depths.
Wow,
Depths
pretty good for Roland here.
And he, that is interesting. Oh, he's just conceding.
Wow.
Okay, so Roland had the Force of Will even to stop the clock rotation. So Roland's situation, Roland kept an excellent hand in this context. Just Wasteland the Dark, and especially based on what Jason did. So Wow, that was a lot different than the Miracles match.
Yeah, it was. It was. MTG Banding, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Appreciate it, MTG Banding. Everybody, please thank MTG Banding in chat. Let's tune into the players here. Jump into
Yeah,
Zoom with you.
yeah, I'll do that.
You can eat a wasteland for free and then just play another depths. I'm supposed to do that every time, I think.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
So the Wasteland into Surgical was just so good right there. What was your hand? I must have missed it, Jason. What was your hand to start that game, and what was your game plan there?
So my hand was the ability to turn 2 combo against no disruption, and the ability to. I was just going to play lands with this hand. I was going to, I had my turn 1 plan was Diamond, pitch, Verdant, play Depths, and then I'm sitting here with Crop Rotation as, threatening combo as soon as I play Urborg, and if he wastelands me, I'm just willing to let that go and play another wasteland and draw a card, or play another Depths and just draw a card, because I have to get through any number of wastelands anyway. And if he keeps a hand with, Wasteland Surgical, it's just gonna work. What I'm looking for to improve this hand is any discard spell, to clear the way for this Crop Rotation to resolve, and then I'm only once I get through any number of wastelands, and like Force of Wills, I'm not concerned about. I'm only concerned about 1 Brazen Borrower, because the Submergers aren't going to be a factor, so I'll just never put a Forest in play.
So I have a question. Is the reason you didn't cast a Crop Rotation because it was so important because it was going to get you other piece that you were just like, I'm just going to develop until I find a discard spell, and so I can play a little bit more patiently and just accept that I'm going to lose to a Surgical Extraction if he has it?
Yeah, basically. So I wanted him to. I presented what I thought was the juiciest wasteland target possible, because any turn where he doesn't play a threat, I'm pretty happy. So it's just generating a little bit of tempo at the risk of losing the game, which happens.
I think that's a totally fair assessment. I think that decision-making process is more likely to win games than lose games, and they can look bad in these kind of circumstances. But I think that's the kind of decision-making that risk-taking is an important skill in Magic. And sometimes you're going to take the risk and it's not going to pan out, but there's a lot of upside to the line you took, and it gives you the maximum chance for things to work well in your favor. So I think that makes a lot of sense.